Hello folks, Scott with Dallas Paint Correction and Auto Detailing here in Dallas, Texas. I want to go over something with you. Excuse me for being shaky, but let me pick up this Opti seal and put it next to the ONR because I want to talk about something. Somebody just asked me recently and I want to get into it. Scott, I'm a professional detailer. I do a lot of rinseless washing. I have no water available to me. I have no power available to me when I'm working at apartments. How would you use ONR in those situations? Well, I'll take it a step further. How would I use ONR not only in that situation, but if I'm working on a car that is a daily driver and is already scratched beyond belief? Because here's the deal. Yes, using a power hose, using a power washer is going to be the best method to wash your car. It's certainly the less riskier of all the wash systems we have, right? We got a 2-bucket system if that's the way you want to go. We have a rinseless system I'm going to talk about in this video, or you have a waterless wash. So this is right in between. How do I make a rinseless system more effective, more efficient, and less scratching or marring the surface when I have no water or power available to me? I'm going to use ONR in this example. You want to know why? I know products that are far better than it, but I'm going to use this as a foundation going forward. The system will work with every rinseless system I'll talk about as we go along in the future. If you notice on this bench, I've got ONR, right? I've got OptiSeal next to it. I've got some drying microfiber towels. Those are 630 GSM. No, they're not from the rag company. I know a source for microfiber towels that are far better than the rag company, and I'll talk about them in the future. I have the sponge, right? Scott, that's yellow. It's not red. What are you doing? I'm only using it as a prop to talk about Optimum's big red sponge. Right next to it, folks, this happens to be the wash media of choice for me when it comes to rinseless washing. This is a microfiber mitt that you would typically use with a regular wash system. But what's really great about this wash mitt, it's very short fingers, very knobby, a little bit more forgiving. You can get into tighter areas with this mitt than you can, say, the big red sponge, or in this case, the yellow sponge. What's also great about this wash mitt, folks, it will release dirt far quickly and it won't stain. One of the reasons why I love it with rinseless washings I'll get into in a minute. Let's talk about the big red sponge, which happens to be the yellow one in the moment, right? Just using it as a prop. ONR, or Optimum, wants you to have this dunked in your little bucket there. You're going to go over the paint gently. Why don't I like the sponge? Well, I don't like the sponge because it can't get into all the nooks and crannies. Look at my door handle there. How the heck am I going to get this big freaking sponge inside that little door handle area? A little bit of a problem. You've got the side view mirror and the door. A little tight in there to get this big, sponge in that area. I don't like it. On the back of this SUV, lots of nooks and crannies. The sponge actually isn't as effective as I'd like it to be. Now, as far as their science is concerned, listen, folks, there's good science and there's bad science. What do I mean by that? Well, if you smoke every day for the next 40 years, you're going to get cancer. Guess what? That's science. But to the end user who has cancer, it's what we call bad science from their perspective. Not always is the sponge the greatest science on the planet. Sorry, ONR, don't mean to step on your toes. But I'm going to use this wash mitt, right? I actually get this wash mitt from AutoZone for $5, and because the knobs on it are so short, it releases the dirt well. I can get into nooks and crannies where the sponge can't. I'll get into that in a minute. Right next to me is those microfibers, right? 630 GSM. You can use the Gary Dean method if you want, right? You're going to take all those microfibers and put them inside your bucket. I actually like Gary Dean's method. There's just one problem with it. I'm going to take my nice plush microfiber I spent a lot of money for, and I'm going to go over the panel. Guess what's going to happen? It's going to get really dirty. That's cool. It will pull and release the dirt off the panel, but eventually, because I'm a pro and I do rinseless washings from time to time, or maybe you do them a lot, you'll notice those microfiber towels will begin to stain no matter how you clean them. I don't want to do that to, especially to my nice microfiber or my microfiber towels. I don't want any staining issues. I want to talk about ONR's dilution ratio. ONR says what? Is it 1 to 256 or 1 to 258? My math is all crazy. But basically, it's half an ounce per gallon. Folks, inside my bucket, I have 1 gallon of distilled water with my favorite wash mitt sitting in it with ONR. I am a fan of using ONR. You do not have to make this your own philosophy or system. but I am a fan of using 1 ounce per gallon. Don't freak out, because I will only use 1 gallon to wash this mid-size SUV. I don't need any more water than that. So I have 1 gallon of distilled water and 1 ounce of ONR. I think it cleans the panel better, and it's just a better user experience in my opinion. You get more lubricity with it, but you decide if that makes sense in your world. Let me put this camera down and I'll show you what I incorporate before I even go into a rinseless wash to give me a higher chance, a higher rate of removing traffic film than using ONR alone. Here we go, folks. Let me put the camera down. Hold on, a little shaky. Sorry, folks, sorry. So I've got that back panel. We're going to work just on this back panel as a demonstration, right? What I'm going to do, folks, is I have a 1 gallon pump sprayer I bought from Walmart. Cost me about $4. You can get a better one, up to you. What I'm going to do is pump this thing up. Come on, Scott, couldn't you have been ready by the time you made the video? Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. Inside the pump sprayer is super clean, diluted 3-to-1 inside this 1 gallon sprayer, folks. I'm not a fan of walking up to a car and pre-treating with just ONR alone. Yes, it can emulsify and break things down, but there's one thing ONR, in my opinion, cannot do. Depending on how much traffic film that might be on this car, ONR alone, with the surfactants within it, it's just my opinion, aren't the greatest traffic film removing surfactants that I know of. So what I'm going to do is take Super Clean, diluted 3-to-1 with this pump sprayer, and I'm going to lightly spray it on this panel. That's dirty. I know it doesn't show up on the camera. Sorry, folks. I'm just going to spray it on that panel. 3-to-1 Super Clean. What I'm going to do, because I'm working in direct sunlight, I'm mobile, sometimes it could be 100 degrees in Dallas, I'm only going to let it dwell for about a minute. I do not want it to dry on the surface. Folks, I know this is a rinseless wash system, but I'm going to take my Works Hydro Shot, 172 PSI. No, it's not the greatest power washer in the world, but I don't need a tremendous amount of power right now in the moment. I just want to rinse off that Super Clean that's begun to emulsify and break down a lot of the dust and dirt, far better than ONR alone. I also want to take a traffic film that isn't water soluble and turn it into a soluble so I can rinse it off the panel. The Works Hydro Shot has got a bucket down below with distilled water. Again, I want no water spots whatsoever working in Dallas. I'm going to go in here and just rinse off the car. I will use very little water all the way around this car, probably less than 2 gallons, because I'm just rinsing off the Super Clean after I apply it. That panel now is far cleaner than anything else that I know I can put on that panel. Maybe you like Power Clean, maybe you like Meguiar Super Degreaser. Pick the surfactant or the degreaser that you like that has the ability to break down a traffic film. That's all that's important here. And I know I'm incorporating a rinse with it. So easy setup, very little setup time. Again, I've got no power and water available to me, and I want to make the rinseless system far safer and more effective. Now what I'm going to do is take my favorite wash mitt for rinseless washing, AutoZone knobby short microfiber mitt. I buy it at AutoZone for $5. Folks, I'm going to go to the top of this panel and start at the top and work my way down. I'm only doing this one panel. I typically might do, maybe I do the whole side of the car, one panel at a time obviously, but maybe I pre-treat with Super Clean a couple of panels at a time. You just decide what works for you. I'm going to go across this panel gently all the way down here. Now when I get to the door handle, I can kind of squeeze my little wash mitt inside there and get where the big red sponge can. And I'll slowly work my way all the way down to the dirtiest part of the car last. Folks, I'll bring this wash mitt over to you. I know you can't see it on the camera. The car has got dust and dirt, and it's been driven through the rain. In the last month, I've seen it, or I saw it 30 days ago. If you look at my wash mitt, very clean, doesn't have a lot of dust and dirt on it. I've already guaranteed myself the highest rate of removing the traffic film with Super Clean before I went in and did my contact wash. I will now put this back in the ONR bucket. Their science says that it has the ability to release the dirt and fall to the bottom of the bucket. Cool, I'm not going to overthink the moment because it's not all that dirty to begin with because I've already pre-treated it with Super Clean. But I'll put it back in the bucket and let it just release the dirt. Wonderful, great. Now the panel is wet with ONR, right? What I'm going to do is take my OptiSeal. I'm going to take OptiSeal, and I'm going to take one of my nice 630 GSM 16 by 16 edgeless towels. No, I don't get these from Rag Company. I know companies you can buy stuff from. I'll get into it another time. But here we go. Optimum tells you to use 1 spritz with your drying aid per panel. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. No judgment by me. What I find is 2 spritz gives me more durability, more longevity, and better shine and gloss. This stuff is relatively cheap. I'm not going to overthink the moment. What is it, 20 bucks for 8 ounces? What do they say? 1 ounce can do 4 to 5 cars. Not going to overthink the moment. But I like the more shine and gloss with 2 spritz on the panel. I'm now going to take my plush 630 GSM towel and just lightly go in here and buff and dry to absolute perfection. I will show you my towel when I'm done. In fact, I'll flip to the other side. And I'll just go in here and lightly buff, get all that Optimum over the surface of the panel, and now I'm done. Let me bring my microfiber towel to you. Folks, this microfiber towel, I use both sides for the drying. Completely clean, no dust and dirt. I have noticed if I use Optimum alone as a pre-treatment before going in and doing my contact wash with ONR, I will tend to see some dirt, grease, and grime on my drying towels. I remove that from the equation by using Super Clean first. Somebody's going to say, but you're degrading the wax that you put it on the last wash. Who cares? Optimum is so quick, so fast, or OptiSeal is so quick, so fast, so effective, and it's not all that expensive. You're always going to be laying protection on this car every time you touch it because it's so quick. Folks, that is, in my opinion, the best way to get amazing results with a rinseless wash. Pre-treat the panel with any type of degreaser you want. Do not let it dry on the surface. Let it dwell for about a minute. Break down that traffic film, far better than ONR alone. Rinse it quickly with distilled water, especially if you're mobile, working in apartment complexes, working in very hot areas. You don't want water spots. Go in there and do your contact wash with my favorite little mitt from AutoZone that releases dirt far better, doesn't stain as much as the microfiber system with like Gary Dean. I love this thing. It's great. You can get in little nooks and crannies with a sponge can. OptiSeal, 2 spritz if you like. Gives you more shine and gloss durability, buff to perfection. I can get around this car in less than 10 minutes washing the entire vehicle, glass and paint. Yes, I'm going to have a little bit more time to actually dial in the wheels. I'll discuss that in the future. I wanted to talk about the paint and the car and how to use a rinseless system when you have no water, no power available to you, and you want maximum results with less marring or scratching. Folks, I hope that helps you out. Any questions, put them down below. I'll get to you as soon as I can. I love you all. Talk to you soon.